What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another episode of Retro Reviews. Alright, so today I'm going to try, the keyword there, try to do a short video. Just a short video. Yeah, about this little thing here, this little bugger here. This power supply or AC adapter, as people maybe you might not know it as an AC adapter better than I call it power supply or AC adapter. It's the same thing. But this little bugger, okay, was the cause of my problems of recently here. This is what I had. Okay, I'll give you a good look at it. See, it's just a generic universal AC adapter. But I had this plugged into my Sega Genesis, right? This was what was powering my Sega Genesis. But you'll notice here, there's two plug-ins for it. Two different sizes here. See that? So yeah, this one was for the Sega. That's what fit in the Sega. This one's bigger. I haven't tested it, but I feel this would go for a Super Nintendo, because that pretty much looks like how big it is. So this is a universal AC adapter that will power your Sega Genesis or your Super Nintendo. It's like you could do them both at the same time. See, you could have one plug-in, and if you had your Sega and your Super Nintendo next to each other, okay, I guess that's convenient. But I wouldn't recommend it. Why is that? Well, in recent times, the past, I'm going to say, month or two, I was dealing with, when I would turn the Sega on, I would hear this buzzing, this humming noise as the game was on. And it continued to get actually worse. Okay, so I'm like, oh, alright. So we gotta investigate what's causing this. Is it my TV? Is it my speakers? Because I have this hooked up to an old CRT from the early 90s, right? And then also I do have two small speakers plugged into the headphone jack so I can get that stereo sound. I love me some hi-fi stereo sound. So first I was like, well, let's try it, see if it's these speakers, because these kind of speakers can go bad. And I think I even bought them used. It's like I think they were a Goodwill find. Okay, I'm frugal living, right? But they were perfectly fine working speakers. So I turned the TV volume all the way down so it was I could just hear the speakers, right? Turn the Sega on. I would turn the Sega on, still that humming sound. Now you could still play the game, you could still hear the game, but you heard the humming with it. And as you turned the volume up, I'm like, well, I'll try to just drown out the humming with turning the volume up. Nope. So as I turned the volume up, on the Sega, that little push lever, yeah, the game volume went up. The game volume went up, but the humming volume went up too. The humming got louder with it. I'm like, oh. So the humming was like almost drowning out the game, to the point where it was like not enjoyable. It was annoying. It's like, yeah, I gotta figure this out, because I don't want to play like this. So then I'm like, okay, I unplug the speakers and then just go by strictly the TV volume. Same thing. Okay, I even plugged in headphones to my headphone jack. Turn the TV back down. Plugged in headphones. Same thing. It's like, okay, it ain't my TV. It ain't the speakers. It's the system. It's coming from the system itself. So I called my local video game shop. No, not Lame Stop. They can't help me out. It's called Video Trader. It's a local video game trading shop in my local area. Talk to that guy. He's like, hey, would you know anything about this? So he asked me to bring in my AC adapter and my connection, to the TV, like the audio and video wires. So I took him both. So he hooked them up. He had a Sega, right? And he hooked them up to his TV. and he did like one at a time. He first hooked up the audio and video, didn't do it, because he had his own AC adapter there, right? So then he hooks this little prick up to his Sega. There it was, the humming again on his TV, right? So it's like, so yeah, we figured it out. It was well, he's like, he had an official Sega, right? He had an official Sega AC adapter, and he plugged it in and turned it on at his store. No humming. Plugged this one in. That was the humming. So he sold me an official Sega AC adapter, right? He's like, try that out, because he's like, at first I was like, man, I hope it ain't my system, right? Because even if this was the bad, it's like, it could make your I've heard stories where it would damage your system. I was like, you know, even though, yeah, it works, it turns the game on. It's like, did it damage the sound chip or over time, you know? He's like, well, let's do it step by step here. He's like, take this, he's like, you know, take this official Sega AC adapter, plug it in, hook it up, and see if that fixes the problem. I did that, plugged it in, turned it on. Nothing, I mean, no buzzing, just silent. Just, I saw saw my Sega, saw the property of Sega, and then the game loaded, you know, the famous blue Sega. But total whisper quiet, no sound, no humming at all. So yeah, this little guy was the problem. So I'm making this video to, you know, to share this, not only, you know, share this experience, but basically warn you guys about this potential thing. And my advice, right? Avoid this. Avoid these universal, because these are just, because I've heard that in the past, if these game systems, these consoles, they require certain voltages, and if that voltage ain't exact, okay, because I've even heard that about the Model 1 and Model 2 Genesis, like they even took two different power supplies. So it's like, definitely these freaking generic universal things, nope. You know where this is going. Into the trash. Permanent. But yeah, it's not worth risking, you know, damaging your system. I got that probably from, because they actually sell them there. Now maybe this unit just went bad. Because again, it didn't always do it. It just started doing it last few months. But it's like, he gave me that one for, you know, that's officially licensed by Sega. It fixed the problem. So I'm like, okay, from now on, no more of that generic universal crap. It's official. It's official gear, or it's nothing. Yeah, recently I went to another shop and was going to get a controller for my Nintendo, my original NES, because the D-pad was sticking a little bit. Now he had one there. It looked like the Nintendo controller. The color scheme was everything, the red buttons, but there was no, Nintendo was not on the controller. It was a generic, basically imitation. When it comes to this stuff, it's like, no, dude, I don't want your imitation crap. And it was cheaper, you know. It was like $8, and then. But the official original controller, he had it at $12. I'm like, for $4, I want the real deal. I don't want that fake imitation crap. So I would suggest to you guys, whenever you're getting stuff like that, especially like that, controllers or your power supply, that's like, if it ain't right, it could fry your system. And, you know, we obviously don't want that. So, yeah, my advice, make sure it has the official licensed, you know, from Sega or Nintendo or whatever, you know, console you're shopping for. Make sure it's officially licensed from the manufacturer or from, you know, and it's not this cheap universal imitation crap. Yeah, that's kind of upsetting, you know. It's like, man, it's like, because, you know, I paid decent money for my Genesis, because, you know, I got the very first model where it says the high definition graphics on it. I guess that one's like, for some reason, that one's more expensive than the other ones. Because they made one just like the Model 1, but it don't have that around on that circle part. It don't have that high definition graphics. He was going to sell me one of them for like 20 bucks, so it's like, it kind of looked bad too. I was like, I don't want that one. Mine looks so much better. But yeah, have you guys ever experienced anything like this? Or have you ever heard of this? It's like where it's actually, you know, important to where you make sure you have your AC adapter is the right voltage for the right, you know, console. Even like I said, even between Model 1 and Model 2 Sega Genesis, I heard that they took two different ones because they're like, it may work, but it's like, it may fry your system over time. So it's like, well, I'm always thinking long term, you know. I'm not a temporary guy. I don't have a temporary mindset. I always think big picture, long term. It's like, yeah, I want a solution that's going to be long term, not this thing that's just going to, you know, not this little band-aid thing. I want a permanent fix here as much as possible. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the video. I thought I would share my share this. You know, it's kind of goes along with, you know, what I do on this channel with these retro games and game consoles. But yeah, you gotta make sure you got you gotta make sure your gear is on point, right? You gotta make sure you have the right stuff for your connections and all that. So, but have you guys heard of this? Have you had any similar experiences? Leave me some comments below if you have. You know, I'd be interested to know if you have. But if this is your first time to the channel, tap that red subscribe button down there. Then the bell next to it, ding ding. And that way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. So until next time, guys, keep it retro. So he sold me an AC adapter, an official license, an official Sega. Jeez. So he sold me an official Sega